Hi everyone, Simon here with a review of Cube Raiders. Cube Raiders is a 1 to 2 player puzzle game that's both cooperative and battle based, and it's available for PC, Xbox One, PS4 and I think Nintendo Switch, but it's a PC version that's on your screens. The reason why I pursued a copy of this game for review is it heavily reminds me and is heavily influenced and copies a PlayStation 1 game that is one of my favourites of all time called Devil Dice. It had a sequel on PlayStation 2 called Bombastic, and it's known in Japan as XI. In that game, and the same is true for Cube Raiders, you need to roll the same number of dice together as what the face of the dice is that's facing up. So you need to put 2 2s together, 3 3s, 4 4s, 5 5s and 6 6s. And then the change here is that in Cube Raiders, you need to get 1s on their own without touching any other dice, whereas in Devil Dice and Bombastic, you'd have to roll 1s into your combos. When you hit them together, the dice kind of light up and start to sink down. And during that time, you can then roll more of the same dice like next to it to get a combo going and to increase your score. Doing so will help you in the time trial mode of Cube Raiders, get your high score so that you can then get onto your local leaderboards. In the battle mode, you start to control that number of dice. So say if you roll 2 2s together, you then control that number, and then you'll be looking for getting your 3 3s, 4 4s, 5 5s, or whatever it is that you're after. But so will your opponent, and they can get 2 2s and steal that number back. So you'll be kind of actively trying to stop them getting what you've already got so that you don't lose it for it having been stolen back. But you'll also be trying to go for your own combos as well. In those two modes, Cube Raiders works relatively well. Everything's from a fixed camera perspective. I did have some problems around controls being a bit laggy and slow, and I also ran into some technical issues where quite often you would hit a combo, and this was especially true of 5s and 6s. It's as if the game doesn't recognise it straight away, as if it's lagging. And so I would, because you're in a battle, you're trying to then move out and back in again to try and re-trigger it, and it would then happen the second time around. Very frustrating when you're trying to go for a high score, or if you're right at the very end of trying to get that fourth and final kind of click in. And it shouldn't really happen for a game that is quite low performance needing, in my opinion. Where Cube Raiders then differs from Devil Dice and Bombastic is where it then provides a puzzle mode. And in the puzzle mode, it's got about 100 puzzles for single player and around 60 for co-op, which I've only tried the first couple with because we're in lockdown here in the UK. And the idea around this is that you have certain dice combinations that it wants you to get in a certain time limit. And so you need to kind of work out how quickly and efficiently you can try and get that combo together. The way how puzzle mode then differs from anything that's gone on before with this type of game play mechanic is that it adds in things like ice dice that will slide until they hit something. There's golden dice that you need to hit a switch to turn on, and then you can push or roll them around, but otherwise they're stuck like solid gold and they can't be moved. There's also things like collapsible floors and all of the like there. And the beauty of this is that you can then kind of move around but also push and roll dice, which you can do in the other modes, but it actively encourages you to like climb on and off of dice as you go along. Apart from animation being sometimes quite painfully slow, especially on the earlier levels, the problem is that they add so many different mechanics into puzzle mode all at once, is that it becomes a little bit overwhelming until you realise that a lot of levels with collapsible floors kind of mean that you can only do stuff in one way because of the way how the level is designed. So it's almost like they've added too many elements into the puzzle modes that it takes away any freedom of choice so that you end up hitting on the right answer by accident / trial and error, and that's not necessarily the most satisfying way to do a puzzle mode. I also found that in puzzle mode, the camera would often kind of zoom in and out a bit freakishly and cause me some issues with the game to play itself. There's also the most bizarre thing where they offer up in the achievements and in the trophies a 2-player mode, but there is no 2-player mode in the game. It's cooperative, and there's separate achievements and trophies for that do unlock when you play that, but not 2-player. So if you are a completionist, do not touch this game because it's offering stuff for a mode that doesn't exist. And I'm not quite sure whether it's coming or not because there has been nothing about this game from anyone since its launch. So overall, my kind of advice for Cube Raiders is if you have no option or no way of getting Devil Dice or Bombastic, this is your next best effort for this type of game, but it is a pale imitation. It is not as fluid or as fun or as stylised as a game that was released 20 years ago that feels fluid and dynamic and exciting. This feels much more bare bonesy, even though it's got graphical prowess over those games from 20 years ago. If you do get into this game, I will leave you with one tip though, and it's that dice faces on opposite sides always match to 7. And this is so key for understanding how you get around puzzle mode, but also how you beat your opponents. So if your 5 is on top, your 2 is underneath, your 6 and 1, and your 4 and your 3. And because in Cube Raiders, along with Devil Dice, Z and Bombastic, you always only see 3 sides of your dice. That's how you know what's on the other side. Easy when you know how. Anyway, written review will be over on higherplayinggames.com very shortly. Until then, you guys take care. And I'm a little bit deflated on this one. Good effort enough, but not quite El Matador. Bye for now. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a collection of media projects ran by me. If you like what you see and want to find out more, visit patreon.com/Higher Plane Network. Your support can make so much more possible, be that a like, a comment, a share, or a pledge. Thanks for watching.